All right, we're going to look at question 1 from exam 3, just making sure that we're able to use the graphing tool correctly. Okay, so it wants us to graph the function and write the domain and range in full notation. So this is an exponential function because I know the variable is on top. And as we're learning all of our basic functions, when I go over and I think about trying to use one of the tools here, I know that it's going to be this one, which is labeled as exponential function. So I'm going to click on it and we'll see what it says. It wants us to first place the horizontal asymptote. So an exponential function always has the horizontal asymptote on the x-axis unless there is shifting. So it looks like there would be shifting if you look at the original function. If there was a number added on, like +7, that would mean we shift up 7, or -3, we would move down 3. And that's where our horizontal asymptote should be. So I'm going to go place that. And so I'll click. Now it says to place the first point. The 2 points that I really like to have on a graph are when you plug in a 0 and you plug in a 1. And it might be helpful if you use the little plot a point tool, and that would plot the points and they're easier to click on that way, especially if you don't have whole numbers. So we can do it that way, even though I'm going to try and do the whole number one. So let's see, plot a point. I'm going to have, if I plug a 0 in, 6 to the 0 is 1. So 0, 1. And that's always on every exponential function, unless there's been some shifting. So I plot that point. And then I'm also going to see what happens when I plug in a 1. So 6 to the 1 is going to be 6. So when I plug in a 1, I get 6. And I'm not sure how many points it asked me to plot. So let's kind of start this over in the exponential function. So I go to my horizontal asymptote, place my first point. So see how it like right away goes to the point that I want. So I'll click on 0, 1, place a second point. And really it just needs those 2 points. And there we go. There was my graph there. So again, that might be helpful to use that part of the tool, the plot point tool. And then you enter your domain and range. So just to finish this off, I guess, the domain here is -infinity to infinity. So I'm going to put my parentheses and we'll stick -infinity to infinity. That means left, it goes forever to the negatives, right, it goes forever to the positives. In the range, the lowest it goes is really, really, really close to 0, but it does not touch it. So I'm going to put the parentheses and I'll stick a 0 in there. And it's going to go up to infinity. So there we go. Hope that was helpful. All right, we'll look at one more. This is number 3 from that same exam. Again, it's graphing one of these exponential functions. This time we're going to do a transformations one. So you can see that -5 outside of the 2 to the x is taking all our outputs and subtracting 5. So it'll decrease every output by 5, which means all our y's are 5 less, which shifts us down. So it wants us to use transformations of the graph of y equals 2 to the x. So it already has that graph here. So this time if you look over in our tools, it just has a little translate one, because that's what we want to do. We don't have any kind of reflections going on. So I'm going to click on the translate, and that is going to move my graph around. So I'm going to physically drag it. It's not changing the shape. It's just changing where its location is. So it used to be that I would be at 0, 1. So if I'm going to be at 5 less than that, that's going to be at 0, -4. So I'm going to place it there. And that would be my graph. And so when I go on to the next part, the domain and range, again, that's going to shift a little bit. The domain's still the same, -infinity to infinity, but the range, it's now going as low as, well, really close to that -5. So I'm going to put parentheses, oops, wrong part. I'm going to put parentheses, and it will be -5 is the lowest it goes, but it doesn't actually touch that, so it gets a parenthesis, and then it's going to go up to infinity. And the last couple parts, the horizontal asymptote is going to be at y equals that -5. There we go. That's it.